Hey there, everybody, it's me, your buddy Dave, the host of the Dark Stuff channel on YouTube. Thanks a lot for checking out my new video. Today we're going to do a vinyl update. I got a lot of good stuff. 2 records that I just bought last night from the artists that I saw in concert. We're going to do those first. So far in 2023, I'm recording this at the very, very beginning of March. It's been kind of slow for concerts for me. I haven't hit too many shows, and longtime viewers of the channel know that's kind of unusual because I'm usually hitting stuff pretty often. Last night, though, I caught a show at Reverb here in Omaha that was really, really good. It was terribly attended. I mean, it was a Wednesday night, and there were maybe a dozen people there, 15 at the most. So I always feel bad when that kind of shit happens, but you know what? It didn't seem to make any difference because both bands were super, super good. So the first artist that played up first is this guy, Alan Epley. And this is his new record called Everything. Now, if you're not going like, oh yeah, Alan Epley, I totally know who that is. Okay, I don't blame you, but he was in a couple of bands that are pretty notable. The first one being Shiner back in the 90s. And then starting about 2003 to maybe 2002, 2003, he started a group called The Life and Times. The Life and Times is an amazing band. I never got a chance to see Shiner, but I have seen The Life and Times a number of times over the years. So I've always seen them as very sonically similar to Swervedriver, meaning there are elements of shoegaze, but they're not really shoegaze. There's too many, guitar elements. There's there's a dream pop element too, but it's not purist dream pop. I mean, it's hard to categorize the same way Swervedriver is, and that's why it's hard in this sort of the modern era where everything has to be in certain very neat little genre, subgenre, this, so people only search out certain things. I don't know. Anyways, I'm going to go off on a tangent. Sorry. So the album is on this color green, and apparently everyone is a slight variant. I think that means there's they're kind of a smaller amount because my friend, she also bought one, and hers was like a different, like a lighter green. So that was kind of cool. So the album is called Everything. It's by Alan Epley. If you haven't heard this, I would recommend giving it a listen for sure. Go back and check out Life and Times. Any of their albums are good. I actually remember I mentioned them and Swervedriver and liking them together. I confirmed this with Alan last night. They did tour with Swervedriver on their reunion tour, and when that show hit Omaha, which is actually opening night, strangely enough, they were there. I thought I remembered that, but he confirmed it. Okay, so the other band performing last night was a local band called Little Brazil. This is their newest album. It's called Just Leave. I picked it up last night. Live shots of the band. And when I saw this artwork last night, my first thought was Cheap Trick the Doctor. Little Brazil has been kind of like an Omaha staple for years. I mean, 15 years minimum, probably a little bit longer. They play a type of great guitar, indie rock. I would say when people ask me what they're like, I say they're kind of like a cross between Superchunk and Built to Spill. Not the proggier, jammier Built to Spill, the shorter, poppier stuff. Their stuff is faster, aggressive. You know, it's pogoing music. Despite seeing Little Brazil probably a dozen times over the years, because they live here, I don't think I've ever talked about them here on the channel except once that I know of, and that was because they opened for Guided by Voices years ago, and I did a review of that show, and I feel like I might have shown a clip of them on that one, but I'm not 100% certain. Either way, Little Brazil, Just Leave. They were great last night, too. Okay, so the rest of these are all just like general pickups. There's no live footage attached to them. So first one is a reissue of the self-titled album from Masters of Reality. Hopefully you've heard of these guys. So this album was originally released in the 80s on Def Jam, and then it went kind of out of print for like a minute, and then it came back on Delicious Vinyl, another rap label, and because there's no pictures of them on the outside, I think a lot of people thought they were a hip-hop group. And when I was at the store where I got this, I can't remember which store I got it at, they had a wall with all this new hip-hop vinyl, and this was on it, okay? I'm not trying to be a dick or whatever, but when I brought it up to buy it, I said to the guy, I was like, you know, this isn't rap. And he goes, yeah, I know. And I'm like, well, okay, because it was on that back wall, that hip-hop wall, and he's like, that's not hip-hop wall. Literally every other record was a hip-hop on it. But anyways, I'm like, I was just pointing out in case someone got confused because it's on Delicious Vinyl, and some people used to think it, but it's actually stoner metal. He goes, oh yeah, no, it's really good stoner metal. I don't know. I think the guy had been partaking a bit. Anyways, this is great. My copy's on blue. But really, really classic record. The Candy Song is the track that you really want to focus on. John Brown was another great one. Getting High. The whole thing is just, it's fantastic. Next up is just a Bangles 12-inch for Walking Down Your Street, which has the extended dance mix and a instrumental and dub versions. It's still sealed, and I'm not unsealing it because I don't really care about an extended dance remix. I was just excited that I saw something from the Bangles out in the wild. Like, I never do, except for copies of Everything in Different Light. They're two big albums, because those were million sellers, and there's a lot of copies around. But I definitely don't need those. But anything cool like this, I'll take it. I'll take it. The rest of these records I picked up at Grapefruit in Omaha. And this one I didn't open yet. It's Alex Chilton, High Priest. Now, I've actually had this on CD since the 80s. This was the first Alex Chilton I ever heard. Okay, so when the Replacements did that song, Alex Chilton, I immediately wanted to figure out who the guy was. And back in 1987, it was hard to find Big Star stuff. It just wasn't there. You know, I mean, the first time I heard Big Star was I had to buy a German import best of, which cost like $20, which in 1987, 88 was like a lot of money. Anyways, I'm digressing. So this is the first Alex Chilton I ever heard. This was kind of his comeback record. He'd done an EP or two prior to this, but this is actually a fun record. I didn't know what to expect, you know, but it's got some good kind of rock. He does a lot of covers. It's nice. Continuing in my quest to have every soundtrack of all the Whoopi Goldberg 80s movies, here's the soundtrack to the movie Burglar. Okay, I'm actually kidding about that. I'll take Whoopi's soundtrack from any decade, not just the 80s. No, but anyways, this has Sly Stone, Belinda Carlisle, the Jets, the Smithereens, the Distance, the Jacksons, the Bell Stars, and Bobcat Goldthwait does a song, Bobcat Rap. That's actually why I bought it. I think Bobcat Goldthwait is still really great. And he was the co-star with Whoopi in the movie Burglar. Now you don't need to see it. I grabbed this album called Waves by Katrina and the Waves. Everybody knows Katrina and the Waves from the song Walking on Sunshine, and that is just one of the most purely perfect pop gems of the 1980s. That's just a fantastic song. If you're from the States, that's probably, you think that's like a one-hit wonder. That's all you know them by. And if you're from England, maybe you know them for 2 songs, maybe Canada, maybe 2, or what have you. I know them for a couple of songs because in addition to that, I know them from going down to Liverpool because the Bangles, I heard the Bangles version first, and then I heard Katrina and the Waves version do it. Katrina and the Waves version. This is the album that the band made after their big album from 1985, where they blew up and went platinum and all that. Now, if you know anything about the history of the group, and I'm just going to give you a quick snapshot, the band was formed by a guy named Kimberly Rue, and Kimberly Rue used to be in the band Soft Boys. And when the Soft Boys broke up, he joined with a London cover band, which was all the other members of Katrina and the Waves, and then he wrote the songs, and Katrina was the singer. You know, she was the one that was in the band. So that's roughly it, okay? So they had early versions of Walking on Sunshine, Going Down to Liverpool on some earlier records. They re-recorded all their best songs. That's the album, Katrina and the Waves, that the world has bought that one. Kimberly Rue is the songwriter on all those great songs. On this album, though, I was scanning the credits because it's really not very good. I gave it a listen. It is just not good. And he only wrote 2 songs. Is That It, which is the first song. It's the best one. And then the rest of this was just not really that good. I mean, it's too bad. And co-produced by Scott Litt, who would go on to work with REM and the Replacements and some cool shit. But see, that's what happens. My sense on this, and maybe I don't know, but I definitely don't know. I'm just speculating here. But, you know, Kimberly Rue wrote the song Walking on Sunshine. So when that song broke, he probably became like a millionaire, and the rest of them didn't get shit because that's the way it used to work in the 80s. And so now the next album, Katrina and the other guy are like, hey, now I'm going to write the songs on the next record. I'm getting the hit. And of course, they never had another hit again. Best of Wanda Jackson. This is probably my 4th or 5th Wanda Jackson record. This the cover's in kind of rough shape, but the vinyl's great. These old records, nothing happens to vinyl made in the 50s and 60s. That shit almost scratch proof, you know what I mean? This has almost every great song. It's got Right or Wrong. It's got the only one it doesn't have of some of the better known Wanda Jackson songs is that song Fujiyama Mama. You know, I'm a Fujiyama Mama. Okay, which I don't know. Is that? It might be borderline racist, but I'm not sure. I don't know. Out of context, in the whatever. I don't want to even step into that. Fuck it. The Best of Wanda Jackson, great stuff. She is a pioneer of rock and roll. And the last record I picked up is a still sealed copy of an album called Maximum Electric Piano by a man named Roger Miller. Now, this is not the country Roger Miller, King of the Road Roger Miller. This is the Roger Miller from Mission of Burma, and this sweatshirt is actually Mission of Burma. Got that when I saw Mission of Burma on their reunion, because I'm not old enough to have seen them in the early 80s when they were originally around. So I was flipping through and I saw this, and it was $8, still sealed, you know, written on there. And I texted my friend who initially got me into Mission of Burma, and he was into all of the side projects and other bands and stuff. And I love Volcano Suns. I liked Customized, but all the things I heard from Roger Miller were too kind of weird and experimental, and I wasn't that into it. So I asked him, I took a picture of it and texted him. I was like, is this good? And he just texted back, oh, that's one of the Roger Miller records I don't have. I would absolutely buy that for $8. So I did. And then I texted back, you know, maybe if you ever come down to Omaha, I will gift it to you. So I'm planning on keeping it sealed. I mean, unless someone in the comments is like, oh my God, dude, you have to hear that. I mean, I don't know. All right, so let's close out the video with another clip or so from Alan Epley. You've been listening to this in the background. The new album, of course, Everything. It's a really, really nice listen. Been enjoying it the last day and a half or so. Thanks a lot for watching, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.